our topic today is all about our running journey. I thought a good place for us to start, Shane, is to talk about why each of us decided to run in the first place. Why did you decide to start running?
Well, mine was my 40th birthday. It was the Columbus Half Marathon. And my husband obviously is a runner. I'm not a runner. I have really no desire to run. But I thought, okay, what the hey, I'm going to try to do it. It's Columbus. It's right here. 40th birthday. Let's try to make it magical. Let's make a magical moment out of my 40th birthday. Something memorable. And so I survived and I did it. So,
what did you do? How did you prep for that? That was your first big race.
Yeah, that was my first race. And training in Ohio is not easy. I mean, most of my training was on the treadmill at Lifetime Fitness. I will have to tell you.
So let me back up a minute. Your first distance was a half marathon.
Yeah, it was.
That's impressive.
I've never ran. No, I haven't ran any other 5, 10, whatever. No, I went.
You went straight for it.
Well, not straight for the 26.2, but I went straight for 13.1 and I felt accomplished. I mean,
that's tough. Okay. So you said Ohio, trained on the treadmill.
Yep.
Did you follow any particular type of program? How did you know what to do to get ready?
So my particular body type, because my hamstrings and my T-bands typically get pretty tight. I will say on a caveat, massages are great when you're training for a marathon. So if you can get them, I would get one at least once a month while you're training. But
I don't do that, and I'm adding that. I'm writing that down. I'm adding that to my tips and tricks.
Yeah, definitely. So my routine when I trained is I would train up, and I personally would only run 1 day a week. So I would do cardio other days, something on the bike or on the elliptical, and I would do some rate training with it as well. But Saturday, because we all work. Saturday was the only day that I could really get a long run in. So Saturday mornings, I would go in to the gym. And I think I started like at 2.5, 3 miles, kind of on the treadmill. And then every week, I just went up a mile.
Oh, okay.
And so I kind of worked back from the date in which I train. So, I try to go 13 weeks or 14 weeks back. And I just add a mile every Saturday. And when I do other races, I kind of do the same thing too. That's why I have my 19.3 on. When we do the challenges, which is a 10K and a half, that's 19.3 miles. And I typically just do the same as well, as I only run 1 day a week, Saturday. And I do a little stretching before, but my main stretching also I like to do is after or the day after. And I like to do yoga.
Okay.
Yoga
yeah.
So, especially in the hips and whatever. So that's kind of been in my recovery area is the yoga. And I do love a really good salt bath. Like I get
I'm writing that down. See, people, I'm learning from Shane. Her tips. I need salt bath and massages.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Talk to me about, and then I'll talk a little bit about my first kind of getting into it. Treadmill running versus road running. And you hear a lot of people who, have a love-hate relationship with the treadmill or only want to do one or the other. Talk about each for your training.
Well, the treadmill training is definitely very boring. And I will say, make sure that you have a good playlist. And I typically have when I started running, I will tell you the thing that I worried about the most was my breathing, because I would just get gaspy when I would start running. So the trick of the trade for me was, as I found music that was like karaoke type music. And so
Mm,
I tried to like sing, but not really sing.
I hear you. Yeah,
And,
yep,
and
yep.
keep your breathing in control while I was running. And then that's kind of how I started, because that was my biggest fear, is not being able to breathe when I was running. So
Mhm.
again, karaoke running, karaoke singing, whatever you want to do, just kind of going on the treadmill, singing your favorite country songs or Disney songs or whatever. And in your mind, it relaxed me. I wasn't thinking about my breathing as much. And it just kind of helped me get through it. And I never really I've been pretty fortunate, other than, as we get older, a little plantar fasciitis here and
Right.
there. We'll talk about that later. But in the early, I really didn't have any issues with any,
Injuries or anything like
yeah,
that. Yeah, I
yeah,
think that
yeah.
that's pretty important. I like music as well to run. There are other people who can listen to podcasts. I have to have the beat of the music
Mhm.
to actually, it's not that I'm matching my run to the music because I like a variety, but I do like that cadence and that it, to be honest, like you, it just takes my mind off of it. A good
Yes,
song
yes.
to sing along, not get too breathless because I, like you, at our age, don't want to get injured. I want to do
Yeah.
everything steady.
Well,
Well,
and
the
I think also starting later, I didn't do anything, any sports related, soccer,
mm,
anything like that, that created any injuries earlier.
yes.
So I think maybe even starting a little bit later in life, running might be even a little better for you. I don't know, but
Oh,
I
that's
didn't have any.
interesting. I'd be curious. Comment below, people, if you agree
Yeah.
with that. I never thought about that, but that could be you didn't have any old injuries that you people
Mm-mm.
talk about.
Now, treadmill versus road. Here's my take on it. Treadmill is softer on the body. So when you are running on your treadmill, it isn't as bad on your hips. It isn't as bad on your knees because you do have that cushion. So I personally think if you don't always have to do all full road when you're training, or
Mhm.
treadmill. I think if you do a little bit of both, for me,
Yeah,
it is keeping my body at a certain cardio for an extended period of time.
yeah,
I know it's going to take me 2.5 hours to run 13.1 miles. So I've
right.
got to keep my body to a point where I'm not gasping for air, and I can last 2.5 hours in a run. So that's what I kind of train for.
Well, I will share that I'm a little bit the opposite of Shane. I call it the Dreadmill. I do not like treadmill running. I have found it difficult for, again, for myself, for it didn't feel to me like I was replicating road running. So in Ohio, like you said, if we
Yeah,
had
we
to
couldn't.
be run inside, I would run the track
Oh,
at
yes, I did
Mount
that
Carmel
too.
Fitness, where Shane and I met at
Yeah.
that particular gym. That's how we know each other. I would rather run that 500 times around to get my miles because it was a very short track. So you really had to run it to get your
We
miles
did.
in, then do the treadmill at the gym. Now, I will tell you, the treadmill is a lifesaver if you travel with your work and you're unfamiliar with an area. Like if Shane and I are going up and visiting Disney and we're training for a race, we can run around Disney property easily. There's running trails, there's jogging paths, there's a lot of places. When I'm in an unfamiliar city on the road for work, I'm not putting my running gear and running down out in a neighborhood or the road or in the, mostly I'm in the middle of cities. So I will get on that treadmill in the hotel fitness center and do my work out there and my race. For my background, I didn't start running until I was 52. Now, I did every sport under the sun in high school. So it wasn't that I didn't grow up athletic. I played basketball, I ran track, I did softball, I was a cheerleader, I did volleyball. I never did soccer. I just didn't, we never were introduced to that. My parents never
I
even.
played softball up to like middle school, ninth
Yeah,
grade, then
yeah.
got
I
really
did
mean.
all of this through high school. all those
Oh, yeah,
sports
no.
that I mentioned. But they didn't stick beyond high school. So so I always knew inside me was some athleticism, but running, I ran track. I did not run cross country. So running distances was very foreign to me.
Mhm.
We were all sprinters or doing a relay race. And so we were all fast forward many years. And this wasn't even, has nothing to do with Disney. A coworker said, you know, the Dublin Irish Festival, which I loved to go to, and our daughters both danced at the Dublin Irish Festival for several years. They do the night before the festival starts a 5K. Why don't you do it with me? And I said, well, I do love the Irish Festival, but I don't run. And she said, well, you can do this thing called Couch to 5K. And it's
Couch
an
to
app.
5K.
And I downloaded the app and I did the Couch to 5K. And I know there's I listen to a lot of, now that we're into Run Disney, I do like to listen to running vlogs and YouTubers that talk about it. And some people love the Couch to 5K and others don't because of the method. Some people think it gets you running too fast too soon. I didn't find that to be the case. You literally start out running 30 seconds, walking 30 seconds, and then a little bit more running, a little bit less walking until you are running a 5K race. So I did that to lead up to the Dublin Irish Festival, followed the app. It was an easy program, was able to do that and got the bug, finished the Dublin
You're
Irish
very
Festival.
studious. Good job. You're
What's
studious.
that?
You're studious. I'm rogue. I just went rogue.
Yeah,
You're
no,
very studious.
I needed structure.
Well, yeah.
I needed a plan, and so then I got the bug and I thought, well, if I've done the Couch to 5K, I'm going to do the Couch to 10K. But the Couch to 10K assumes you've already done the 5K. So it's not like you're starting over.
Yeah.
So I did that and then eventually got up to Under Armour has the Map My Run on your phone.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and that's how I trained. I used their beginner half marathon program to get ready for the half marathon. So it wasn't that I did like Shane, you did a half marathon out of the gate. I basically kind of laddered up to that. So few 5Ks, a few 4-milers, some great 4-milers. Any of our friends that are watching in Ohio, sign up for the Ohio State 4-miler.
I know. I'm so sad I didn't do that.
It is
That was
such
such
a
a
fun
good
race.
one.
Hopefully I'll have some great pictures in here. I don't know if I have any video crossing the 50-yard line, but you run through campus, down High Street, all the great sites on Ohio State campus. And then you end it running the tunnel where the football team runs in for the games. I'm telling you, it's emotional.
Yeah.
I'm running down there, especially my first 4-miler, because I went from the 5K, which is 3.1 for everybody who might be new to running. The 4-miler was only 0.9 more, but man, you feel every 0.9 more of that the first time you do it. And then when you're running across the field, you're on the Jumbotron and it's like you're in a game. So super exciting. I did a couple of those. There's races everywhere. So what I like to tell people, and we'll talk about some of the other things we've done, is you're never too old to start.
Nope. Never.
You're just not. You're not too old to start.
And don't think that you're not a runner, because I am not a runner.
Right.
You don't have to run fast. I call it putzing. I just putz. I'm a putzer. I just kind of make sure one foot is front of the other. And I can't say not fall on my face because I have fallen before. So in training, but back to the road for me.
Yeah.
So road training too is good. Don't get me wrong. I do like it. You need to do road training because it is different outside versus a treadmill. But I also would train up to that as well during my training, because in Ohio you couldn't always get outside, and I am a fair weathered runner. If it is like
Yeah.
too cold or whatever, I
I'm
still will go
I'm the
back on the
same.
treadmill.
I'm the
Yeah.
same.
But now that we're in Florida, it's kind of the opposite of the fair weathered runner, because now it gets so hot down here that running in the
Yes.
summer, we really can't do it. And the humidity is so bad in the morning that you got to get out by a certain
You
time.
do. You've got to get out before that. As somebody who's training for a big race in January, which we'll talk about at some other point. I started my training on that this week. It's running 3 times a week. Those mornings, if I don't get out there before the sun comes up, you're toast. At
Yeah.
this time of year in Southwest Florida, at this time of
Right.
year. Shane,
Yes.
I'm going to shift us a little bit.
Okay.
Favorite race you've ever done? What is it?
Okay. So, it has got to be what was called the Coast to Coast Star Wars Challenge, which
Ooh.
does not exist anymore. And that's the jacket that I'm wearing right now, because we did the 19.3 Star Wars race
What year?
and 2017.
Ooh, talk about it. What was that all about?
Well, when you go out to Disneyland in the old days, and they had a Star Wars race out there, and you did the 10K and the half, and then you would go to Disney and you would do the Star Wars race there. One was called the light side, one was called the dark side. And I dressed up like Princess Leia. Did I do it? I can't remember if I think I did both. So I was the light for both.
Oh, we have to
But
insert a picture of that.
yes, I was Princess Leia. And then you got all the medals, but then you also got a special medal because you did a coast to coast race, one on Disneyland and one in Disney World. And then you also got the Millennium Falcon medal, which if anybody's a Star Wars fan, the Millennium Falcon medal was because you did both Star Wars races. So that was the favorite of my races.
The coast to coast, which ironically is back in terms of not the Star Wars, but the ability to do a coast to coast. I think that'll be on my bucket list at some point. It's not going to be, I didn't sign up, or no, you didn't sign up for the one in January.
It's too close. They're
what
too
are they
close.
thinking that we could like go coast to coast one week, have 5 days in between and fly to the other coast? But there's a lot of people doing it. Maybe they'll spread it out.
Anyhow,
Anyway.
but yeah, that was probably my favorite race, just because we're Star Wars fans. When you run, when we ran those races, that's just the Star Wars folks that are on the side. I will butcher their names. I don't, Darth Vader and Darth Maul and all those characters.
I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, they're standing along the side, and it's really, really cool. Now, Disneyland is actually, you're running through a neighborhood, and so a lot of those people were just people that have their own 501st, type ordinance out there. I don't know, people who just dress up and do things.
Yes.
It wasn't actually Disney people. Now, Disney, did it a little differently. They had, everything kind of you ran through the parks, but that was my favorite. So what was your favorite?
Well, I love that. Mine's also a RunDisney. And just to tee it up again, you guys, we will do a deep dive on RunDisney.
Yeah.
We absolutely will. But my favorite was a RunDisney, and I actually pulled the medal off my medal rack.
Oh.
I'll put a photo in of, because I'm very proud now of all the medals, because what it speaks to is just getting out there and being active. And so I think for anyone on a running journey, be proud, put your bling where people can see it.
Absolutely.
And so this one is from 2022. It was RunDisney during marathon weekend, and it was my first half marathon distance. And
so as you could tell, Disney bling is very nice.
Oh,
bling.
it's lovely. And the bonus on this one is it was the 25th year of the half marathon.
Yeah.
So that's on here. And it was Disney's celebration of the 50th anniversary. So your lanyard has the 50. The 50 is beautifully inscribed on the medal. They turn, they're so pretty.
They are.
So that was my favorite race, because that was that challenged me. I had never done that distance. The longest distance I had done to that point was a 10K.
Hmm.
So I doubled it, doubled the
Well,
10K.
what is the crazy lady doing next?
Well, the crazy lady is, so I've done two half marathons, right? And you and I would have been at both of those together.
Yep.
So I was at the 2020 race. I only did the 10K. Everybody knows Disney, it was over 400 and some days between, I heard somebody talking about that because they couldn't do any races during COVID.
Yeah.
But I did 2 half marathons, and Disney, and we can talk about this on our Run Disney episode, has something that your husband knows very intimately. That's called the Dopey Challenge. And the Dopey Challenge, for anyone, I'm going to scoot over here. I've actually got a poster that says Dopey 2024, the Dopey Challenge, January 3rd to the 7th. There are 100 runs on that. No, I'm sorry. There are 90 training runs, and I have 2 checked off. I have 88 to go. And what the Dopey Challenge is, for anyone who may not know, you're not Run Disney people, it is a 5K on a Thursday, a 10K on a Friday, a half marathon distance, which is 13.1 on a Saturday. And then just to be crazy, you throw in a full marathon on the Sunday, which is the 26.2. So I've always been in awe of people who've taken that challenge on. And
well, you're doing it.
What's that?
You're doing it.
I'm doing it. I just decided, there are 3 of us that signed up. We actually tried to get in 2023 and got closed out. And that was a sign from above. No way. How just even thinking about training for the half marathon and the time involved and the commitment and just not feeling it. I'm glad I didn't get in then, but we did get in this one, and all it is just one of those goals that's big and bold. And I figure I have one in me. This is it. This is it. This is the time to be big and bold, to do something daring, to challenge myself. After I've done a lot of researching about it and tips and tricks of others. And I know this sounds weird because I've never run 26.2 or 48.6 over 4 days. I'm not as worried about the physical part of it. Not worried about getting swept. Not worried about finishing. Not worried about, we will do that. We will get through it. I'm worried about the mental part of it. And that's what people say. It's just such a tough challenge mentally.
Well, not only that, you're getting up at 3 a.m.
Well, that's
it.
It's not natural to get up at 2:30 in the morning, 3 a.m. to be in the corral or be in the Run Disney area around 4 and then start lining up, because these races, you guys, go off at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
2 reasons for that. Number one, it's hotter than you know what in Florida. Yeah. So you have got to start running before the sun comes up, at least start running before the sun comes up. Secondly, they have parks to open to the general public, and they don't want thousands of runners running through it. So that part is, I'll just have to deal with it and train for the mental, I guess, just as much as the physical. More to come on that. We'll talk about.
Yeah. We'll
talk about how my training is going. Shane, anything else? Salt baths?
Yeah, I do use my watch. I do use the Apple Watch is what I typically use to train with. So that, I think you need a device. I don't have a heart monitor around. Now Joe wears one of those with his Ironman watch. So I do think you need some sort of a wearable to make sure you're training so you can see your heart rate, making sure you're not going up, too high. Yeah. And because that's the other goal too, is when you're training up or when you're training to keep your heart rate at a certain level that you can breathe. I know once I get past that 160 and it goes into 165, it's like, okay, like slow
Yeah.
down, even take a walk for 30 seconds, let their heart rate come down into the 150s again, and then start back again. And that has to do with also with the heat, running in the heat and running
Yeah,
down here. So
right.
you gotta know your body too, and know, and you drink. Remember what I told you, the first one of your first races, even when you're not thirsty,
Yes.
stop and drink the water,
Yes.
because if you don't, you're going to get dehydrated. So that's another tip. You've got to stop at the first one and get a cup, or if you take it with you, just make sure you're drinking starting at the very beginning, not when
I
you think
think
you're thirsty.
that's a really good tip. The nice thing about a lot of the races, especially Run Disney, but also other local races I've done down here, is being very plentiful at the drink stations and
Mhm,
having that. Also, when you start training over certain miles, it's important to have water with you, or
mhm,
at least set up your run. What I have done here now, Rob, my husband, he will run with a water bottle successfully, and I have a running bottle. But what I do is, if it's just training, I will set up that I pass by the house again,
mhm.
and I've set my water at the end of the driveway, my little Yeti thing, so it stays nice and cold. And I only need that if I'm a 10K or above. So if I'm running, like when we were training for the 10 miler
Yeah,
and we got up to like 8 miles, when I'd hit like a 10K, I'd make sure I'd be in front of the house, grab some water, and move on, because it's brutal. You're
it
just
is.
sweating it all out. So
And luckily, and the other issue is the potty breaks. Like, the
mm,
men have it very easy just to go duck in the side and go
yeah.
potty, but, when I trained too, I also did the same thing you did to go to stop at the restroom if I need to.
Yeah,
Um
and that's helpful too. I've had to do that occasionally as well. The only other thing that, and I know we're a little long, but I think that's okay. Hopefully, we gave everybody a lot of good tips if you want to get started. Is what you wear, and
Mhm,
for the women who've tuned in, finding the right running brawl is, sometimes you need a PhD to be able to find which one works well. I've tried them all. The one that works best for me right now is called SheFit, and it's a front zip up running brawl. Now, I do have to run with a tank, a nice light wicking tank up against my body, and then I put that on over it, and then usually running in a tank, and some sort of they're almost like bike shorts for me, just because of
mhm.
shaping. I can't really run in the real short little runner sport shorts. I have to wear something a little bit longer that protects my thighs, because you are sweating a lot. And that's a good combination for me. Shane,
Yeah.
do you like to wear?
I do like to wear, these are the tank tops that I do like to wear, and luckily, they do have, like, a little, tank in them, but I do now, I am not very well endowed, but I have enough that flops. So I have to have a little bit of support of a bra
Right.
in to help. So I cut a half bra actually, and
Oh,
I put it in. So this isn't a full bra. So I cut a bra so it kind of like gives you some support.
okay.
So there's nothing
Oh,
around here. It's just the bra
interesting.
area. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just the bra area.
Oh, well,
Um,
that's a good tip.
little TMI, but,
Yeah.
I take my older bras that aren't, like, around, and I'll cut them up the sides, and then, this is the half, and then this is just
And
the
you get enough
regular.
so you feel like you have enough support doing
Yes.
that? That's
So I
great.
don't feel, when I just have, like, a tank with nothing in it,
Mhm.
then I feel a little more movement. The other thing I will say too for everybody talking about chafing is I use CeraVive. CeraVive or Aquapora, no matter what you need, wherever you think you're gonna rub a little extra,
Yes.
just make sure you put it in there because,
You taught
it
me that.
man.
Yep.
Mm.
I forgot
If
to mention that. You
Yeah,
know, the
put your
other most
CeraVive
important
even
thing.
here.
Oh, everywhere. I saw you put it everywhere when we stayed together before a race, and, um, shoes. Ladies,
Oh, doggone
gents,
it.
you don't pull the old gym shoes out and decide you're gonna go run. You absolutely, positively go to your local running store
Yeah.
and have them fit you for shoes. Not all shoes are created equal because everybody is a little bit different with how it feels,
Yeah.
how their foot. Make sure they show you, get on a treadmill. And that is the one place I will
Yeah.
get on a treadmill is at our local running store. I like Feet Fleet. And so that they have outfitted me in New Balance is my running shoe of choice right now at this stage in my life. I've tried different versions. I think I'm in the 1080s, and they seem to give me the kind of support. I do go through them though when we're training for a race. I will not. I made the mistake in the first half. They should have been retired.
Don't
I
let them get
trained in
old.
those shoes and ran in the shoes. The
Mhm.
second half, Jane, you remember me after the first half. I could
Mhm.
barely walk through the parks.
Yeah.
The
And
second
the
half, I was in a good shoe that I'd been running only about 6 weeks. I was golden. I was fine,
yeah.
but not the first time. What about
And,
you for shoes?
well, I was gonna say check again, check with your local, and I like to go into the a program where you pay for it, and then if you don't like them, you can take them back, like, try them for 90 days and then take them
Yeah,
back.
that's great.
Yeah, so I actually, I started with one shoe and now I'm into the Hokas. I have lots
Mhm.
of Hokas. I
Yes.
didn't like the Hokas at the beginning, so they're one of those shoes that always gets taken back, and so I just grab them. But I do like the Hokas. I suggest trying just a pair on and seeing what you think. Joe didn't used to like them, but I got him in Hokas
Oh,
now.
that's
So,
great.
but yeah, I do like the Hokas, and I do a little like a half size bigger just to give me just a little bit more room. I don't like tight toes.
Oh,
I
no,
like to
they
have lots
will,
of room.
I was at the mercy of the
Yeah.
Feet Fleet professionals, and, you absolutely go a half size bigger. There's not even a question. They
Yeah,
won't
I
they
do
won't even
back
put
home
you
with
in the si yeah, right.
Roadrunner and Fleet Fleet, I think are like the
Roadrunner,
2.
yeah, Roadrunner's a great place as well. So
So
yeah,
yeah,
guys, yeah, we talked gear, we talked, tips and tricks, races. Please, if you have put down what your favorite races are, when you're subscribing, that's the perfect time to type in your comments.
so and I will remind them, I'm 55 and you are?
56.
So we are older ladies that are still
Yes.
running and we're having
Yes.
fun, and we're having fun.
Yeah. We enjoy it. You mean Shane and I, when we go back, watch episode 1,
Yes.
we fill in the blank of why we run. And it is, while we do enjoy the physical challenge, we also enjoy the experience of running. And you can make great friends running. We've got great bling, great stories to tell.
We'll have some
It,
great pictures for this episode and
yeah.
definitely for the Run Disney episode.
Yes.
But the marathon, like the Columbus Marathon, obviously that's just a marathon and you run it. There's not, and
Yeah.
you've done a lot of those. But when you do some that is going to have characters or other things, it's more of a lighter 13.1 versus a race 13.1. So just have
It
fun.
is. Yes, we'll talk about that. There's so much to do
Yeah,
during a Run Disney race, and they're expensive. So that's another thing. You want to get your money's worth out of a Run Disney.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you're up at 3 a.m. in the morning. So,
Woo-wee. Yes. Oh, we'll do a full episode, but
yep.
hopefully we inspired some of you to get out there. If you've been on the fence, listen, if we can do it, and we have a lot of bling to prove that we've done a lot of them, and we're still standing and we're still walking, you can do it too. And that's what we wanted to share with you today. So Shane, that's all I have. Anything else?
I No, I think that's it. I was just gonna say, if anybody has any questions, let us know. My husband is an Ironman competitor, and so I do learn from him as well. We're going to New
Yes.
Zealand for an Ironman in 2024, so I
Right.
do have
Yeah,
a
Joe.
little experience behind me.
No, that's great. I think he's a great resource at your fingertips. So Shane definitely has that. We will put links to anything that we mentioned in terms of our favorite places and brands that help support our running. Anything we mentioned, we'll put below in the show notes.
Make all of our moments magical.
In Florida and beyond.
Until the next Take 10, we'll see you soon.
See you soon, everybody. Long. Subscribe.
Subscribe. Yes, subscribe, like, comment, share.